Hi there guys, it's Adam Martin here, and welcome back to another installment of the Now Review, and this time the latest spin-off to look at today is one that when it was announced I think sort of got a few eye rolls. I think people were sort of expecting a lot of, similar things. It's very similar theming, but we're going to find that out for ourselves as we take a look at Now That's What I Call Legendary. So this promises legendary songs from legendary artists. That's a big title to fill. Of course, we have had legend titles before. Way back, we had Now That's What I Call Legends. There was another one. Was it Number One Legends or something like that? We've had Now That's What I Call Gold. You could argue that's a similar thing, similar interpretation. You could argue we've had Now the Songs Timeless, or Now Timeless the Songs, as confusing that was. That was a similar theme. Now That's What I Call Massive Hits and Number Ones. We're not a stranger to this, premium songs from premium artists concept, but we'll have to see if it stands up. So let's take a look. We can see the front cover here then. The logo is emblazed in gold, which I always admit does look very nice with the Now logo, all this shiny in gold like that. The legendary word is in a different font. I think it's the same font that was used on Now Timeless, if I'm not mistaken, and it blends quite well. Again, the gold is nice, and the background, it's a mix of blue, purples, a bit of white in there as well. It's all very aesthetically pleasing to the eye. I do wonder with these legendary releases though, they're saying these are legendary songs and such, but the covers are never that legendary, I'm going to be honest. There's not that much going on. You would have thought, aside from a lovely colour blend, which is a nice colour blend, but you just would have hoped maybe that there was something else going on here to sort of draw you in, entice you in. You can see at the bottom that it promises you a wealth of artists actually, people like Queen, Ed Sheeran, Neil Diamond, The Police, Elton John, Eurythmics, Blondie, and so on and so forth. But there's only one way to find that out, of course, so let's flip this on over and take a look at the all-important track list. So CD1 we're kicking off with Queen and Don't Stop Me Now, which has been a regular feature on many a Now spin-off. So, opening up CD1, I can see why people are already rolling their eyes. We've had this before. But moving on, what have we got? We've got Neil Diamond with Sweet Caroline, a big anthem. I don't know how many Now albums that's been on, though. Someone let me know in the comments, because I'm not sure that's been on too many Now albums, actually. You have Eurythmics with There Must Be an Angel, Playing With My Heart, one of their best songs. They're only number one here in the UK. We have Blondie and The Tide Is High, again an excellent song from Blondie for sure. We have The Police with Walking on the Moon, which again, another great song from them. Elton John with Rocket Man, one of his earliest and most well-known songs too. Rod Stewart with Maggie May. I've got to be honest, I've never been a fan of Maggie May. I'm not really a Rod fan to begin with, but yeah, Maggie May just grates on me a little bit. We have the Electric Light Orchestra with Living Thing. Now, I think a lot of people would have expected Mr. Blue Sky. Of course, Mr. Blue Sky has appeared on many Now albums, so maybe they're trying to subvert expectations there. You have Paul McCartney with Wings and Jet, one of their most well-known songs. Paul Simon with You Can Call Me Al, that still gets a lot of airplay these days. Elvis Presley and Suspicious Minds, one of the late great, a hit from Elvis's later career, shall we say. We have the Beach Boys with God Only Knows, which is from their Pet Sounds album, which got on to have massive critical acclaim later on in their career. Christina Aguilera with Beautiful. Sade with Smooth Operator. You just have to sing that when you read it, don't you? Shirley Bassey with her Bond theme, Diamonds Are Forever, one of her best. I think I prefer Goldfinger, but Diamonds is still a solid tune. Dusty Springfield with You Don't Have to Say You Love Me, her number one hit from back in the 60s, great voice. Tina Turner's here with What's Love Got to Do With It. Of course, Tina sadly passed away recently as well at the age of 83, one of her best songs, so that's an instant plus for me. Lionel Richie with Hello, that was number one here in the UK, I think. Celine Dion with It's All Coming Back to Me Now, another big hit for her. And we finished CD1 with another belter of a voice, Whitney Houston, and I Have Nothing, which is from the Bodyguard soundtrack, of course. So 20 songs there on CD1. Let's jump over to CD2. We kick off with John Lennon and Woman. We have U2 with or Without You, good tune that is. Was that the one played in Friends? I think it was. Duran Duran with Save a Prayer. ABC and All of My Heart. Daryl Hall and John Oates with Out of Touch. Madness with Our House. Billy Joel with Tell Her About It. Donna Summer with Love's Unkind. Earth, Wind and Fire with September. Well, do you remember? Irene Cara with Flashdance, What a Feeling. Diana Ross with Upside Down. I've never been a fan of Upside Down. I don't know what it is. It has never clicked with me as a listener, to be honest. You have Dionne Warwick with Heartbreaker. Rufus and Chaka Khan with Ain't Nobody. Sister Sledge with Thinking of You. Rose Royce with Wishing on a Star, gorgeous vocal there. Michael Jackson's here with One Day in Your Life, which of course I think came out in 1975 but didn't hit number one here in the UK until 1981, fun fact for you there. Stevie Wonder with My Sharia Moore. Otis Redding with Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. And we finish off with Barry White and Just the way you are. Lovely track there. So 19 tracks there on CD2. Let's jump on over to CD3, and we kick off with Coldplay, everyone's favourite, with A Sky Full of Stars. You have Ed Sheeran with Bad Habits, so we've got songs from as recent as, a few years ago. The Killers with Human. The Weeknd with Save Your Tears, I'm assuming that's just him, it doesn't say with Ariana Grande. Maroon 5 and Christina Aguilera with Moves Like Jagger. Britney Spears and Baby One More Time, her debut hit. As is the debut hit for One Direction with What Makes You Beautiful. Shania Twain with That Don't Impress Me Much. Glenn Campbell with Rhinestone Cowboy. Dolly Parton with I Will Always Love You. People forget she wrote that tune, that's hers originally. The Spice Girls are here with Two Become One. We have Katie Melua with 9 Million Bicycles. Christina Perri with 1,000 Years. If that song doesn't grate on you after time, it will do. Lady Gaga with Million Reasons. Pink and Nate Roos with Just Give Me a Reason. Miley Cyrus with Wrecking Ball. Sia with Chandelier, definitely one of the best pop hits of the last decade, no doubt there. One Republic with Apologize. Seal with Crazy, good tune there. Gloria Estefan and the Miami Sound Machine with Anything for You. And Take That round off CD3 with Back for Good. Solid stuff there. Finally then, last but not least, we're on CD4 now. We're kicking off with Simon and Garfunkel and The Boxer. You have Oasis with Don't Look Back in Anger. The Manic Street Preachers with A Design for Life. Robbie Williams and Kylie with Kids. Meatloaf and Bat Out of Hell. Bonnie Tyler with one of her best hits, Total Eclipse of the Heart. Cher with If I Could Turn Back Time. The Pretenders with Back on the Chain Gang. Tears for Fears and Sowing the Seeds of Love. Not the tune I would have expected on here from them, but there we are. Jerry Rafferty with Night Owl, again, Baker Street, but maybe they thought that was too obvious. Bob Dylan with The Times They Are A-Changin', excellent protest song of the day. Really glad that's here. Marvin Gaye is here now with What's Going On. The Supremes with Where Did Our Love Go. Amy Winehouse with Rehab. Aretha Franklin with I Say a Little Prayer. The Drifters with Save the Last Dance for Me. The Everly Brothers with Crying in the Rain. I'm guessing that's the original of that tune. Aha did a cover of that some years later. The Hollies with The Air That I Breathe. And the Righteous Brothers with Unchained Melody. Of course, a beautiful song there. And we finish song number 20 with our lad Frank Sinatra and My Way. So in total then, folks, that is a grand total of 80 tracks. 80 tracks across 4 discs. So we'll talk more about the track list in just a second, but as we always do, let's open it up, see what's inside. Adverts, and follow our social media, as always with these ones. As you can see, it is advertising a lot of the albums I mentioned at the start, so Timeless, Gold, Massive Hits and number ones, and the regular number ones as well. Obviously hitting the similar theme, some of those tracks even overlap onto those albums, I'll tell you that for nothing. Opening it up then, the discs are a bit boring. They're all different colours, and the Now logo's in white. The cover's very bland, so the discs are very bland. It's all a bit samey. So disc 1 is in this dark blue hue. Disc 2 is more of like a salmon pink. Disc 3 is bright yellow, and Disc 4 is like a washed out purple. So not the most interesting disc designs ever. In fact, I think they're pretty boring, and I think that just goes back to the cover being a little boring, to be honest. But, that's just my personal opinion. But I always like the covers in the disc to have a bit more on them than just the basic title. So in all then, the track list, well, like with a lot of these, legendary, gold, timeless, there are going to be songs that do overlap. There are some songs on this album, I'll tell you right now, that will appear on other Now albums. But having gone through it, I must admit, there are some that I'm almost convinced I don't think we've had on a Now album before, or at the very least, we haven't had on a Now album for a very, very long time. So at least, we're getting some sort of variety there, which I do appreciate. They're trying to, they're not going for the obvious ones in some cases, like, the Electric Light Orchestra. They didn't go for Mr. Blue Sky. Tears for Fears, it wasn't Everybody Wants to Rule the World. You see what I mean? So they are trying to go a bit left field here, but I think really, if you're a big Now fan, you're going to have to go through the past releases. If you're trying to save some money, maybe assess whether this album is the right one for you to pick up. If this is your first time grabbing this sort of release, then, absolutely get it. But maybe still check the tracklist of the others as well, see if something else might be more your fancy. But I think this is pretty solid. As always, it retails for $10.99. That's the new price now after inflation sent everything soaring upwards. So $10.99 for this 4-disc release, or £11. You might be able to get it for a bit cheaper as time goes on. I'm sure it'll eventually go in a 2 for 15, 16 deal, whatever it is these days as time goes on. But, not the best release ever, but I'd argue not the worst release ever. Just, sort of tiding us over before the spate of releases that we're getting in June. But again, assess this up, check the track list, check all of that, make sure if this is the one for you. But that's all for this installment of the Now Review. Thank you very much for watching. As always, if you did enjoy it, please leave a like on this video. We really do appreciate it. And subscribe to us here at AMTV Now if you're brand new. We would love to have you aboard. Comment your thoughts down below. I've been Adam Martin from AMTV Now. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time for another spin on the turntable.